Hi. Hold on. Oh, I actually have viewers. Cool. I'm only 15 minutes late. Sorry, guys. Today I'm painting, actually, my monk from the other night. So it's, I'm painting my character from the one-shot the other night. Let me see where I can get her to show. Yeah, there we go. I'm hearing a little bit of feedback. Well, let me fix this really quick. Oh, it's my computer again. Yes, you did. With your human character, might I add, that I thought was a gnome for like half of the game. So yeah, today I'm going to be painting. I have this WizKids Minis. I guess it's the Marvelous, Noel Zero's Marvelous Miniatures D&D. It's a monk. I believe she's human. I can't remember. I've had her for a few weeks. But my character was a half-elf, so we're just going to make that work. I do that all the time. I kind of just switch them, because you can kind of hide it. It's okay. So I'm using, finally, my actual nice paints, my Reaper's Miniatures paints from my kits. I have not used these on the WizKids miniatures yet. I've only used my just basic acrylics so far when painting these, and they ended up looking something like this, which I did spray with a little bit of like a shiny spray instead of a matte, so they're a little bit more shiny, which I'm not doing anymore. We talked about that in, I think, my first stream. I am using just the Reaper's Miniatures paints, and I did get a brush-on sealer, so I'm thinking about trying that one this time since I haven't tried it yet. And I'm hoping that'll turn out cool. But at the same time, the miniatures that I've painted the past couple times that were in the Reaper's Miniatures Learn to Paint kit, they turned out really nice matte. So I don't know if I'm gonna actually need them for sure to put the brush on sealer in it, but I might try it for this one just because I haven't yet. So we'll see how that goes. I have her on my little painting holder. That's just a medicine box. Lots of people do this, so pretty simple. People usually tend to have these in their house already, so just stick it on with some sticky anything. You can use tape, I've heard. I use sticky tack, which is, you can buy it pretty much any office supply location. I already have her glued onto her base that came with her, which is, I'm not positive on the length of it, but it's under an inch. I guess it's the, yeah, it's under an inch, so it might be the 28. And I have a bunch of colors that I thought might look good with her. So I have some dark red, some bright red, brilliant red, and dragon red. Actually, these are both, I think they're Master Series. Yeah, these are both Master Series of the Reaper Miniatures paints. So I'm going to do a little bit of that. I'll probably use this dragon red as somewhat of a wash on the brilliant red, because I believe I want to do her in some red and orange and gold colors. I also have this marigold yellow and I have candlelight yellow, both Master Series. This one is bones and this one is core colors, so if anyone is into that knowledge. These are all a mixture of bones and HD and Master Series. Okay, so, well, Master Series obviously. So for her character, when I played with her last week, I had her as a Way of the Sun Soul, which is an order, I believe is the word. That is in Xanathar's Guide to Everything. And I made her last week because it was for a one-shot, and I knew about a week ahead of time that I would be doing it, so I've always wanted to play a monk. I've never played a monk, but I wanted to try it. I like hand-to-hand combat, first of all. I've been into melee fighting for a lot of my characters, but usually with daggers. And then I recently started doing more spellcasters, which I'm also not super knowledgeable on yet. I'm still learning a lot of spells. But I wanted to try this monk since she's a hand-to-hand combat kind of character. And with the Way of the Sun Soul, I think that the colors with the red and gold and silvers and yellows will work really well. So I have a couple of silvers to choose from my various kits. I'm thinking that the brighter silver, which one was it? Polished silver, which is a Core Colors paint. I think that's going to be good, possibly, for this. If I do any silver on it, I do want to do some silver and gold somewhere on her. And I have filigree silver, and I also have blade steel, but I think that's going to be too dark. If I even do silver, we'll see. And then I have this really nice gold, which is, where'd it go? This one. Here it is. Dragon bronze, so I guess it's bronze, but the color is kind of gold. And I think that'll look really nice on her. So let's see. Filigree silver, I'm going to save that one, and the bronze, I'll save that. Dragon red, brilliant red, I'm going to try those. You always tend to use white, so I'm going to have that dragon white just kind of set off to the side in case. Polished silver, I like that one, it's a lot more bright. My brush on sealer, I'm going to try and attempt some candlelight yellow and marigold yellow. I'll probably make those more orange, but we'll see. And then I have Scholar Flesh, which is a little bit lighter. My character, the way I wrote her, she has kind of like a tannish copper tint to her skin, so I'm going to try and add in some other colors. I picked out the woodland brown, but that might be a little too dark, but I'm going to try and mix those and see what I can do. Monks are great. I'm really enjoying playing her. I started her out as just a simple, you know, for a one-shot, sometimes you just make a new character, make it pretty basic, and quick little backstory and see where it goes for the game. But this one, I was really excited with. I played with Scraticus. It was just a one-shot. I'd done one before, so I thought it'd be really fun to do it again. And so I made a monk. Didn't have like a. Her backstory was just that she was orphaned as a baby and left at a monastery. Kind of basic, but as far as a one-shot goes, you can kind of build that into the story. And the way that he DM'd the game, he just made it so much more than I could have like written myself, I think, if I had sat and done it. And she ended up meeting her ancestors in a type of, all three of us had to, what did he call it? Not defeat our ancestors, but I guess face your ancestors and like overcome it, I guess. So the other characters had to do it as well, and it was really, really interesting how each of them had their own type of interaction with their ancestors. Some were more funny, some were more serious, but mine was that she saw her father, who ended up being a human king, and her mother was like an elven keeper. And so I'm assuming that's obviously her parents. And since I didn't know where my parents were from, who they were, I'm just a half-elf, that's all I knew really. I got to explore what my past was, and it looks like the Human King's queen might have murdered my mother, or something along those lines. Or maybe my mother murdered the Human Queen, I don't know. We just got to like kind of a stopping point that was just like a cliffhanger, so I really liked it. But anyway, so for this monk, She has a quarterstaff. It looks like it's got some kind of rope around it. And she has a type of, I don't know names of clothing. I didn't study any kind of fashion, so I'm going to do my best with this. But she has some sort of long, looks like short-sleeved maybe, jacket that's split in the back, and I think that's what I want to be the main focus of the outfit. So I'll probably do that in the red, kind of make it a dark, strong red. I'm trying to remember, I think I had her hair as dark brown, so we'll do like kind of a bronzy brown, I think, something that's kind of shimmery. I don't know if that will look cool, but we'll try it. Quarterstaff, obviously, we'll just do that brown. It's wrapped in some sort of cord that I might make yellow or something, since Way of the Sun Soul, part of their fighting technique is that they shoot off these like bursts of light, sunbursts and things like that. So I'm thinking that that will work well for that. And then she has pants that seem to stop at the knee, and then boots, which I would like to do the boots brown. That's just something I like to do. I'm also going to do what I normally do when I start a mini, and I haven't done it on the previous two that I did on stream because I was doing the paint with me, or the, not paint with me, that's me, the Reaper series, Reaper miniatures starter kit, learn to paint. It was just by the book. I was just painting them as they said in the directions, so that anyone who was hoping to see the starter set could understand like what you do from start to finish. But with mine, I normally start with, I paint the base a little bit first. So I'm going to do that today. And I have these larger bases because I ordered some 30mm bases that I thought were a nicer size. I know that's not 100% on par with what you're supposed to have. I think a lot of people like the standard 28mm, and I do too. But I just like the way this has a little bit of a lip to it, so it gives it a little bit more depth. So I might, after I'm done, put her on this base, because I think her circle will fit right within there where the lip edge is. And then she'll have her color on her base, and then this little black edge. That's why I got these, so I could eventually add that to them. Okay, so my first step when I'm painting is normally, I don't need these, is normally to start with a darkish gray color after priming, of course. These ones are pre-primed, like I said, I think. So I'm going to shake up, I'm going to use Mountain Stone. This is a pretty good gray for that. If not, I can always add white to it, and that will make it a little bit brighter. I will do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 drops of that. I'm looking at it now on this dark plate. I am going to add some white to it, I think. Or adding it on this white plate. It kind of makes it look darker, so 1, 2, 3. I will do 3 drops of white to 6 drops of Mountain Stone. And I'm going to use the brush I've been using in the Learn to Paint kit for dry brushing and things like that. It's more of a rectangular brush. Don't know if that shows up, but it's more of a rectangular brush. It's their number 2. Reaper Pro Paint 8501, if you were curious. Brush number 2 in the first Learn to Paint kit. So I'm going to add a little bit of water to these, make it mix a little bit better. Yeah, I like that color a lot more. That's normally what I try to start with. It's a little bit lighter than your base, a little bit darker than your miniature. And I'm not going to put this on the whole thing. I'm just going to be putting this on the base, including that black circular base that comes with the miniature. These, the way that I put them on, I intentionally use a paint that I have learned bubbles up a little bit, so it adds It's not intended to. I don't know if it always does or if it's just the way I use it, it does, but it's a Gorilla Glue, and it's a Gorilla Glue pen. It's one that we got to glue some ceramics together, and I noticed when I did that, it kind of bubbled up. And so I put it on my miniatures, and so instead of just gluing the miniatures base that is built on to the black base and having that just flat transition, kind of flush transition, I guess, this kind of gives it a little bit more of texture so that it kind of blends in better. And you can add way more than this. I didn't do a lot since she's on like a stone piece. I kind of liked the way that stone looked on its own without any more level to it. I shouldn't spread this out so thin, so ignore that I'm doing that. And when you paint, try not to spread your paint out so thin because it will dry faster, I've noticed, and it kind of frustrates me. Okay, I'm going to move that. I'm going to try and focus that a little bit better. It's hard to get when you're painting on stream, just so you know if you're curious. You're used to painting, or however you do. I'm used to painting like this, but when I'm painting with the cameras for people to see, it's really hard to get an angle that works for both. So I'm going to try and get this a little bit more in focus so that I can show it to anyone watching. That's worse. Okay, I think that's about as good as it's going to get for now. Oh, comments, so sorry. I forget to read the chat section. Hey everybody who's here, thanks so much for coming. I know I haven't streamed in like a week, and last week was a little off. I wasn't having the best day. Okay, here we go. So what I do is I try to put a little bit of gray down just so that when you start painting the feet of the miniature, you have a little bit more to like cover it up. So I put a gray down, then I paint the miniature, including the feet where it meets the miniature or the miniature's base, and then I have that gray underneath, which is a little bit darker, and then I put whatever, if it's stone or grass or whatever it is that I'm doing. Yeah, it's hard to see it when I hold it like this. And if anyone has any tips on getting your laptop or computer or whatever you use to stream to cool down better, I have it on a base that is meant to not let your computer overheat, but it's still doing that fan sound, and that's that background sound that sounds like a fan. It's my computer, and I don't know how to get it to stop. I've restarted my computer, closed out everything. I don't know, man. It's just set on being a noisy in the background. Droning sound. It's the worst. So I'm almost done painting this kind of just a gray base on the actual base. And after I do that, I will start on the miniature. she is a half-elf monk, Way of the Sun Soul, and her name is Avriel Sunfist. And she was raised by, what should I call them? I call them priestesses, but they're female monks, and I kind of just made this up for the story, but it was an order of female monks who worship the deity Lethandar. I don't know how to say it exactly, but he's like, not the sun god, that's not what you would call him, but kinda. And she was taught, or raised even, with the teaching of the Sun Soul, and they kind of formed it into a type of dance fight. Not so much like they're dancing while they fight, but the way that they fight is dance-like, and it includes the bursts of light, the sunbursts that they do, and that includes the quarterstaff and the way that they move it as they fight. Okay, so far I just have a little bit of the base coated in like a mid-tone, not a mid-tone, I guess this is more of a darker mid-gray, mid-tone gray. And that's just so for when I paint the miniature and paint her feet and stuff, it'll have something more beneath it for when I recover it. More of a guideline, I guess. That's not really the word I'm looking for, but we'll say that. I don't have any set order that I do when I paint them, so it's going to be somewhat different every time. I don't like paint the clothes first, then paint the base or whatever. I kind of just do it as it feels like I want to do it. And right now I think I want to do her, I really want to do her coat, but I feel like I should do her hair. No, I want to do her coat. So for that, I am going to do Reaper Miniatures Brilliant Red. And I will do, it's pretty big, so I'll do, I shook these up earlier, but they've already settled again. This one sounds super watery. It's new, I just got this one. It's just like that, it's just kind of watered down. That's really weird. Well, I don't know how many drops that was. It was a lot, all at once. I'm gonna try and do it by itself. If I don't like the way it looks, then I will add some of the dragon red to it. If I think it's too bright, because it is called Brilliant Red, and I'm not wanting her coat to be bright, bright red. I am wanting it to be a little bit more subdued, so I'm gonna just see what it looks like. I don't know if it'll work just doing it in this red and then doing the wash in the dragon red, or if I should just go ahead and mix them now. I think I'm just gonna try the wash idea. It's pretty bright, but I'm envisioning it getting a lot darker when I do the wash. So this is my first time using Reaper paints on WizKids miniatures, and it's a little bit, let me see, it's sticking okay. I think maybe this red one might just not be super great at the moment. Okay. Oh, as far as the wet palette, I completely even forgot about all of that. This last week has been good. but just super busy. I've had so much stuff, I've gone so many places. But yeah, I need to make a wet palette. I completely just like left my brain. The entire conversation we had, the entire fact that I need one. That's how my life goes pretty often. I really need to get this camera to focus. I had it all set up, focused earlier, and now it's pretending like that doesn't happen. No, that just looks bad. That's better. I really like this miniature. I'm really excited. The WizKids minis don't need primer, but do you prime it anyway? Okay, actually, yeah, they don't need primer, and all of the ones that I've painted up until now, I have painted with really cheap, just hobby store basic acrylic paints, and have had, honestly, no problem with the paint sticking and the right consistency and everything. So if you're using, it depends on the paint you're using, because now that I'm using these Reaper paints, it is sticking enough to say yes, you can definitely paint it without a primer, but I just recently bought 2 cans, and I'll show them now. I bought 2 cans of just hardware store primers, and it's just a black and a white. I got 2. I just got what looked right. I'm not positive if these will work, but I did get these to try out on them. So I think, I don't know how the WizKids minis will react to these, but I will try them on one of my extra ones. And then I did get these for my actual Reaper minis, which don't have primer on them. They say you can paint them without it, and I have, and it's been fine, but I really want to try different kinds of primers. So when I paint this guy, I'm going to try and prime him beforehand with black and white. What is that called? Xanthol priming? Xanthol priming? I want to try that because I haven't tried that yet. And I also just got in the mail my new, I don't think I'm going to make the Michael Mortar Reaper miniatures like painting contest this month. I just don't think I'm going to be able to have time. This last week and this upcoming week I've had more to do than I expected, and I think I'd like more time to do that. So I did get miniatures. So I have, like I showed in a previous stream, this is the Reaper's female Oni, which is like a demon lady, pretty cool. She is larger than a lot of my miniatures. She might be the same height as that one I just showed. But then I got in the mail, it's all crushed up, which is sad, but it's the Ghoul Queen. I've really been wanting this one, and this is the one I was going to enter into the competition. It's really hard to get her details to show in this packaging. I couldn't get a photo of it earlier. I was going to take one because it's kind of, the front of it for some reason isn't clear. It's dull. But she is really cool. She's, ugh. I'm in love. Oh, you can kind of see it on the edge. No. But anyway, I have these two ladies that I think are really cool. I love ghouls. Ghouls and hags. Oh, my favorites. But there's several others that I have on my wish list of the Reaper miniatures that I'm going to get eventually, and I can't wait. I don't know where I was going with that. Oh, the primer. Yeah, I haven't, I didn't prime this one. That's what we were talking about. I'm just putting the Reaper paints on it, and like I said, yes, it will take it, and the paint will take the paint, but I would still probably prime it. I don't know. That's just me. And the thing with these, which I am learning in the Reaper kit, Learn to Paint kit, is the power of layering and how much better these kind of paints. I don't know what it is, what's in the formula, but these paints just layer really well. So for anyone who is watching or will watch that is new to painting, I know a lot of my friends are really good at painting, but for anyone who doesn't do this, if you've been thinking about it, try to do the layering technique, because I didn't do that when I first started. I just tried to get the paint on and get it thick, and that's the way I tried to color it, and it's just so much better to do it this way. So hard to paint the undersides of things. I think this is where the airbrush technique comes in handy, right? For those of you who have airbrush sets. It's nice to get just like in the crevices. Ooh, I can get it in focus there. But I want it in focus here. These cameras are supposed to be really good cameras. I don't know why the focusing issue has to be such an issue. It's off autofocus. It's just not very good at focusing on tiny things, which I guess is reasonable. I wish I could make my eyeballs into cameras, because that would give the best view of everything. You could just see directly what my eyes are seeing. But not like on Black Mirror. Not like that. That's scary. Her pants are getting a little bit of the red on them, but I think I'm going to be painting them like kind of a orangey brown color anyway, so that's okay. Okay, that's a good idea. So I think I actually will try that over the next few days, moving my camera closer, because this is the camera that I'm using is supposed to be really good at like sharpness and quality. I'm not super concerned with the whole shot of the table. It's more for, that's what I thought would like help it focus more if I had this black background and then I had it here. But I think I'm gonna have to try that. I'm gonna have to make it closer to the table. Because this is, I don't want to keep having this problem. I don't want to keep talking about it. Because that's boring. But thank you so much. Yeah, I'm gonna have to do that. I'm gonna try out some things this week. If I get a chance, hopefully. Because I am planning on streaming on Friday. I really like this brilliant red color. I'm really happy with it. It will get dulled down a bit when I darken it with a wash, but I really like it so far. Eight inches above the table, maybe 10 inches. That's a good idea. You know what I think my problem is instead of getting one of those, I don't know what they call it. It looks like a crane arm, so I'm going to call it that. A crane arm camera holder, not tripod. I don't know what they would call that. But instead of getting one of those, I got the ones that's called like gooseneck, because I thought, oh, if I get this one, I can change up and down. I can change the focus or whatever, and that'll be easy to use. No, it's not. It's a lot harder. It's very stiff and difficult to move around. So I think that was problem number one, because I did intend to have it. I would say like, what is that? Yeah, it's about 10 inches off the table. That was my intention. But with this arm thing, the way it attaches to the table as well as the way that you move it around, it's so difficult to do that I just kind of had to stretch it out. They're actually, I've used manual focus software before for my photography. So that would attach to like my nice camera, and it would allow me to do my macro photography, which I did, which would allow you to choose the, so you could attach it to your camera, put your, well, I would put an insect, and I would have the camera take shot, like at different heights. And then you piece it together, and that's how you make a really good macro photo. So I'm assuming there probably is something like that for this. That's a good idea. Hello, friend. Thank you for coming. Ooh, as I'm painting her, I just noticed I was kind of doing an unintentional gradient down the edges of her coat when I was doing layers, and I think it would be really cool to do something with like red to orange to yellow, a gradient down the bottom pieces of her coat, whatever they're called. I kind of want to do that now. That'll look like fire, look like sunbursts. Technically, I know sunbursts you wouldn't be like, oh, red, that's the color. But I really wanted to do red as the main color on her. It's just such a strong, powerful color. Hello! almost done. So this is my half-elf monk character. If it'll show her enough. Her name is Avriel Sunfist. She's a Way of the Sun monk. And I love her. Yeah, it's for D&D. I love Dungeons and Dragons. It is one of my favorite things in the world. And I like, even though I play a lot of games online or on Roll20 or, you know, on Twitch, I still like to make minis for my characters because it's just something I really love. Painting miniatures is one of my favorite parts of playing RPGs. Well, tabletop RPGs. That is so messy. I am confused. I'm gonna have so much to cover up. I think it's because I normally use a really thin brush, and today I'm using this like square dry brushing brush because it covers more area, and I thought that might be a good idea. Normally I use smaller, longer, thinner brushes, and I think I'm going to switch back to that now. I have finished her coat, the first layer of her coat of this red. It's going to be like a, probably more of a, I won't say maroon, but it'll be a darker red in the end. But so far I have this, and I really like it in red. I kind of want to, like I was saying, do a gradient on the backs of her coat down to like an orange yellow color. I think that could be really cool. Well, I might as well do that now then, because it's still kind of wet, and sometimes that makes gradients easier when it's a little bit wet still. So I'm going to do Reaper Miniatures Master Series Paints, Marigold Yellow, and since I still have a little bit of the red, I'm just going to add it on the edge of that. Please be nice. Ew, okay. Because it's a little bit more orange. Oh, I'm done with that brush. Well, For the gradient, I'm going to use the square brush again, just because the shape of the coat is kind of rectangular. Let's see how this goes. I don't know how it's going to look. I think I want to start about midway, go down from there. Kind of taking it off a little bit. Maybe I should let it dry. I don't know if that's just my application or if that is the actual, the way the paint is interacting with this already primed miniature. Whatever primer's on it, you know. I'll do the other one the same though, so they'll be consistent, but then I'm gonna let them dry. 'Cause I don't want it taking it off. But it totally is. Well, bother. And for the gradient, it might still be too wet. So I might just not right now and let it fully dry. Oh, it's okay. It's kind of coming off, but it's not too bad. Just a little bit more water, kind of make the gradient go into the, from the orange to the red. Kind of comes off, but it kind of works too. So back to that previous conversation about how these are ready to paint. I think I would put primer on them because I don't like the way that this Reaper's paint goes with the pre-primed. I'm assuming it's Vallejo primer because that's what they suggest with their miniatures, the WizKids miniatures. You see how it kind of comes off there? It wasn't fully dry, so that's still partly my fault. But at the same time, it's like making the paint, I don't know, it's a weird texture that I'm not really liking. But I'm trying to do a gradient, and I'm gonna make it work. Okay, so while that dries, I think I'm gonna try her hair, because I'm excited about it. I'm gonna look at her face again and see how small her face is and decide if I want to do her skin before her hair or her hair before her skin. That's a pretty small face. I'm gonna do her hair first so I'll be able to go in with the skin color and clean up those edges. Ah! Oh, bye, John. Have a good day at work. I don't know if I caught you before you left. There's a blend emote. I'm so happy. And it's like orange to pink or yellow to pink too. That's perfect. So for her hair, I am planning to do like kind of a dark brown. I don't know if I want to put black and brown together to make it, but I guess I have to with what I have. But do I want to do, oh, I think I like harvest brown. I'm gonna do harvest brown instead of woodland brown. Browned. That's not a word. Well, it's not the word. Nope. No. Nope. Okay. I'm gonna do harvest brown and black. And you know, just because I like things to be a little bit extra sometimes, I think I'm going to add a little bit of dragon bronze to it. Because it might look cool. Oh, but I remember the water thing. And yeah, I forgot to get another water. Last time I used a metallic paint, and then my water obviously was metallic, so everything else that I used with water had like glitter in it. So we'll see. Maybe I'll do that last. You know what? I'm gonna be good. I'm gonna put all the metallics at the end of the line, and I'm gonna do those after I do the paint so that not everything on her is glittery. Though of all my characters, I think she might benefit the most from having everything on her sparkle. Maybe one of my elves. I am using Reaper Miniatures paints, a mixture of, I think, they're all Master Series, but it's the bones and the core colors. It's a mixture of those. I haven't used Vallejo. I have heard a lot about it, and these are the Reaper, not Reaper. These are the WizKids miniatures, and of course, you know, they suggest using the Vallejo paints. I just don't have any. I've never bought any. I've bought the Reaper paints in kits, so that's why I have a bunch of those. And before that, I was using just basic acrylics paints, but I do want to eventually, at some point, somehow try all of them. So like, I'll try Citadel, I'll try Vallejo. What's the other one? I can't remember. War paint. I'm gonna try them all. Yeah, sparkles. She'll have sparkly hair. I can't help it. I have some really pretty bronze that I might brush in there. So for her hair, I'm gonna do, did I shake it enough? You gotta make sure you shake it enough. To get Vallejo in South Africa. Oh. I can see that being a problem. Do they have anyone in South Africa or in Africa in general who makes anything for miniature painting? I haven't heard of, I think most of them are American based. Are they really? I know several companies get their miniatures made and also their paints made in like China and other places. But I actually have no idea where other companies source their materials. Scale 75. Well, there's a new one I can add to my list. Haven't even heard of that I can remember. Unless you already told me that, which you probably already told me that. And I'm just bad at remembering. So for this one, I'm going to use one of my smaller brushes. These paints are, I'll be honest, these paints kind of frustrate me a little bit as far as the consistency. I don't know if it's because they are somehow older, and I had a kit sent to me that was somehow older, or if that's just how these paints are. Because the separation, I don't know what the mixer is in there, the clear part of it, but I'm getting kind of frustrated with them. That kind of came out like weirdly green toned. I don't think that's showing up, but it came out kind of green toned, so I'm gonna add some Where'd it go? I'm gonna add some woodland brown in there, and hopefully that'll like make it. Oh my goodness, this is so gross. That clear stuff is so gross to me. It reminds me of plasma or something, which actually makes sense because plasma in blood is the same kind of concept of this, like the way that they're mixed in there and it like rises to the top. I'm just rambling. Blood is cool. Okay, I'm gonna add quite a bit of that for this tiny bit of hair because I don't know how to mix paint without using a ton, apparently. It's green. That is weird. It's just got a green tint to it and I do not like that. I wonder now if it's the pure black, which doesn't make sense. I don't normally mix it this much on the plate. I know I'm spreading it out super thin. I just wanted to see what the color, what the deal with the color is. I'm just gonna put a little bit more of the black in it and see what that does because it's weird that it's green. Did I lose? Artist medium. Oh, I actually do have some of that somewhere. I used to use it when I painted. I don't remember what I used, if it was linseed oil. I think that's what I used with oil paints. I don't know if that would work with this. By artist medium, do you mean specifically like it's called artist medium? Or do you mean like a type of artist medium? That is one of the grossest. How did that happen? So in case you're wondering, Reaper's paints pure black and harvest brown somehow make forest green, which I love the color forest green. It's one of my favorite colors, but not for her hair at the moment, not this character. I think I'm gonna have to add some red into it. I'm gonna add a little bit of the brilliant red, since green and red are complementary colors. Games Workshop calls it Lamian medium. Okay. Okay, I will try anything. I also have mineral spirits. I don't know if anyone here uses that for anything. I mean, it's used more for painting and such, like on canvas or something, but I wonder if that would work. That's better. It's a little bit more maroon, but that's what I was going for. Look how gross this is. It's like those Barney color mixing videos where he teaches you how to make colors. It looks way more maroon on camera. That's really funny. Okay, I'll go with that. Really strange, giant, unnecessarily giant blob of paint for her hair. Yeah, that looks perfect. I love it. It's like a reddish brown. And I'm gonna try, like I always do, to be super careful around her face so that you have less issues when you put the skin color on, you know? Make it a little bit easier to do. That's why I like these holders. You can kind of just move them around as you need them. I have really shaky hands. I'm wondering if my blood sugar is low. Because you notice how much your hands shake when you paint miniatures. I love her. I love her so much. Oh, I love her so much. This is so cute. I love her stance. I think I got all of her hair. Oh, just the very top spot. I did not. Oh, I love her. Yes, I can see why an airbrush would be great for, I guess, I don't know if you're talking about wargaming or anything, but just those armies. 232 Salamander Space Marines. That's funny. Your model holder has vitamins in it. I love that. I'm gonna put my gummy vitamins in mine so I can remember to take them. Oh yes, these ears are headphones. Yeah, I need to get a pair of just regular ears so I can just wear them. But I like, I don't know, these are just like multi-use, so like I can have the elf ears and then I can also hear. But yeah, they're really fun. They just kind of hurt. I've said before, like they kind of hurt the longer you wear them. Maybe that's just me. Okay, I'm going to do her pants next, and for her pants I want to do kind of an orangey brown. So I liked this woodland brown quite a bit. I'm going to try that and see if it's too dark. I don't want the pants to be too dark because I'm going to do the boots in a darker brown for like leather boots. Yes. So I was actually talking, I don't remember if it was last time or another stream, we were talking about how expensive wargaming is and how much the minis cost, because I wanted to get, I was like, I've always wanted to get just a big group of miniatures, like a goblin army or something, and so people were telling me that how much they cost, and oh my goodness, yes, I'm gonna continue painting my singular miniatures for a little while longer, I think, before I get into wargaming, because I already spend too much on these. I don't need any armies yet, even though I really want one. I want a goblin army. So straight out of bottle, I kind of think that this woodland brown might be perfect for her pants, because it's already got an orange tone to it. This is the grossest palette, I'm sorry. It's not super fun to look at. But that color, I think, will go well with her. I like it. It's kind of what I was hoping to mix, but now I don't have to. I agree. I agree that if something that you love brings you joy and you get to meet people and it's something you love to do, I think that the cost of it is not the most important thing. As long as you can make it work and it doesn't overtake your life, I guess, in a bad way. It can overtake your life in a good way. Okay, I believe her pants are done. Yeah, I think so. Now on to the boots, which I'm going to do kind of a darker brown. I'm going to see what I have. So this paint is actually called Dark Highlights, but it's in the other Reaper's kit, so it makes more sense. But I think this is the exact color I want for the boots. Stop it. Oh, thank you for watching and lurking, I guess. Thank you for joining though. Let me make sure this is focused right on her. Kind of move my light around a little bit on accident. There you can see her. So ignore that cloth gradient. I'm not done with it yet. So now I'm painting her boots a nice plain brown for now. one boot done. Now that I'm looking at her closer, I didn't notice before, but it kind of looks like you can see her toes as if these boots are toeless, which would make sense for a monk, but I can't tell. I'm just gonna paint them brown just in case. I didn't notice that before. I don't know if it is or is not, so. Okay, so her boots are done. And I'm gonna do her, I don't know if you would call them arm wraps or bracers or what they are, but I'm gonna do those in the same color since they're kind of in the same fashion as the boots, that wrap texture. Might add some red to them later. Done with those for now. I'm gonna paint her staff. I'm gonna try this one, which is the Harvest Brown. See how that looks. It's a little more red, a little bit lighter than the last color. No, I don't like that. I think I want it a little bit darker, so I will mix more of that. Which one did I just use? Dark highlights. And I will mix those. So since it has that kind of cloth or something wrapped around it, it's just the two ends that I'm going to be painting that brown color. I think, I've been thinking about this, for the wrap around the quarterstaff, I think I want to do dragon blood. It's like a dark maroon. Ugh, gross. This one has a lot of that clear fluid, but it's red. Come on. Took all of that just to get the paint. Kind of frustrating. And now I have a ton of it. Okay. So that's good. Now her staff is done with the first layer. Pants, boots, majority of the coat. I know there's some details I haven't done. I think I'll wait to paint the details until I have done the wash on the coat. So now I'm going to do the little tiny bits of her skin, and I'm going to use, since I have, it's called Scholar Flesh, because it came with a kit, and it's just kind of a light tan color, but I'm going to darken it a bit. So I'm doing 3 drops of that. I think I'm going to put in a little drop of, which one was it? Woodland brown or harvest brown. Harvest is a little more red, so I'll try that one. Three drops of the first and 1 drop of that one. Because her skin is supposed to be tan, like almost, called it copper, but we'll see. I like that. It's kind of tan, nice tan color. The face is always pretty hard for me because it's so tiny. And the hands, of course. Tried to add a bit of water to it so it'll sink better into the crevices and creases of her face. There you go. And her hands. And then her little arm parts that are showing between her sleeve and her wrist wraps. Good for now. So that's pretty much everything has been painted with layer 1 now. The brushes I'm using now are just kind of a simple set, and I got at a crafts store. I just needed a set that was really, really small. They're not specifically for miniature painting. I kind of just buy these and then replace them when I need them. So they're pretty simple. The brand, if you're wondering, is called Crafter's Choice. And these are, it was a set of 4. So you got a 10/0, a 0, a 5 out of 0, and a 3. I've been using the 10/0. And the mini is for a character I played in a one-shot last week that I'm also planning to replay. I like to make, even though I play a lot online, I like to make characters for my characters, like miniatures for my characters, just as something I collect and a reason to paint miniatures. Her name is Avriel Sunfist. She is a half-elf monk, Way of the Sun Soul. It's a WizKids mini, and I believe it was either human monk or elf monk. I don't remember. But I make them for my characters, so yeah, they work. I think the next step, since I already have a bunch of the dragon blood on my palette, is I'm going to do a wash. And I'm going to use a slightly bigger brush. So for a wash, you just get really watered down whatever color you're using, and you try to go a shade or so lighter, darker than whatever you're painting. So for the red coat, I'm doing that dragon blood as the wash because it's darker, obviously. So you can kind of see a little bit of what the wash did. It's still wet, but it kind of goes in the recesses of the mini. There's a lot to correct, but so far I think it's okay. I just really like the pose of this miniature. I think she looks really cool. For her pants, which were kind of that brownish tan that I chose, I'm going to use actually that dark brown that I keep losing. How do I keep losing it? Oh. The dark brown is just called dark highlights, but it works for this as just a regular brown. I'm going to use that for the wash on her pants, trousers, I don't know what they're called. Need a lot of water. Since the boots are so dark themselves, I'm going to try a pure black for the wash, but that might end up being too much, so I'll just try a little tiny bit. So that is a very dark paint. Yeah, that's not too bad. Works pretty well. And the same on her leather arm wraps. And it probably will work on, yeah, it'll work on the bow staff or a quarterstaff too. The wraparound I did of like a maroon color. And put a black wash on that too. I think that's all for the body or for the clothing. I think for her face, it suggests using that brown, so I'm going to use that brown. Same brown for the pants I will use for the face. And now washes on the face are really complicated, or at least have been for me, because I always mess it up sometimes. Yeah, that looks good. That'll work. She kind of looks like the Statue of Liberty up close. In the face. So there's for wash number 1. I think I'm gonna try and do the gradient on her, oh, and her hands. I do the brown wash on her hands. Almost forgot. Because that's her skin too. Nice. Okay, so I'm going to try and do the gradient on her coat now. I'm going to try and do it with that same marigold yellow. Don't need too much, maybe 2 or 3 drops. And I'm going to use the brush I've been using to do the everything basically now. That dry brushing brush, it doesn't work for me right now. So I'm going to start at the bottom since it's more yellow, the paint is. On both of them, I'll do both. Just kind of dab on a little bit of the yellow at the bottom and then kind of wash it off a little bit. Just get a tiny bit on there and with water and kind of gradient that upwards into the red. Nice. I hope that shows up. It's still wet, so it's shiny, I guess. It won't look as good. I almost want to put more red on the majority of the coat. It might actually need another layer. So I'm going to put a little bit more brilliant red on those areas that seem to need more. They kind of washed out. When I was putting it on, it was very thick, very dark red. But now that I'm looking at it, I'm thinking it needs another layer. Little better. For her base, I was going to put I'm just going to try the flocking, which I haven't done yet. Thank you. I'm glad you liked the new format. I do too. And thank you to John for helping me last minute today with putting my info on top. Okay, so for her base, I want to have her standing on this stone that she's standing on, but the rest of it, I think I want to put some grass on. So for now, I'm not gonna do the flocking for right now, I don't think. But I'm going to put some green underneath it, some like dull green. That color I accidentally made earlier for her hair. But this time I'm going to put green in it. So I have some dragon green? Naga green. This is Reapers again. Naga green. And then, what did I use? I think it was Harvest Brown. And black. Tiny, tiny drop of pure black. Sticking with that same brush because it's always my favorite. Yes, this is an excellent forest green color that I'm going to do where I'm normally going to put the flocking, or one normally would. I'm going to put it down there. And now I'm going to put a little bit, since I already painted her, the stone she's standing on, a gray color, I'm going to do, well, I'll put some mountain stone on it in places just to give it kind of a little bit more stone textured. And I'll kind of do it as a wash, for the most part. And then after that, I'll do a black wash. Once the back of the coat's a little bit more dry, I'm going to put more yellow on it. It's having trouble kind of showing up the gradient as it dries, it seems. And I don't want it super obvious, like I don't want it to look like fire exactly, more just a highlight of fire. So I'll try it. like that better. So now that we've done all of that, next is going to be dry brushing. I'm going to do the stone a little bit more with a tiniest bit of a black wash, but after that then I'll do, well, it's still kind of wet. I'll try it. Oh. Well, I just messed up the coat. I'm gonna have to fix that. I put a big streak of black on it and then wiped off the paint. That's good enough for the base for now. Now I need to fix everything I just messed up. But I'll include that in the dry brushing phase. So since for her hair is like kind of a dark color, I think for the first dry brush I'm gonna do, what is that? Desert sand. I like that one. Desert sand mixed with the dark brown. Tiny bit of desert sand. Mainly the dark brown. And now I need to shake that more. And I will switch back to the little dry brushing brush from earlier. Yeah, that's a good amount. It's almost too bright in my opinion. I'm going to put some more dark highlight down and dry brush that on again over that. I don't like it at all. It needs black. It needs to be darker. Kind of a wash then. That's better. Slightly better. Okay, for the boots, I'm gonna do, I liked that, well, I'll do the leather brown. I think leather brown maybe with a little bit of the darker brown. the boots and for the arm wraps. I don't need to dry brush the staff. I'm okay with it. I don't think I'm gonna dry brush her coat. But I do need to fix it since I messed it up when I was painting the black on the ground. Just a little bit of candlelight yellow. That was bad. I'm going to do another wash on her chest. It's not a chest piece, but it's the chest area of her jacket coat thing, because it's got like detail to it. It's just not picking up. Might need to add some black to the wash. I'm gonna add some black to the wash. Black, one drop of black to the dragon red, or blood. Dragon red, yeah, not dragon blood. But it is a dark bloody color. That's a lot. Okay, that's fine. I think I need to do a couple, maybe just one. Yeah, I need to do one more wash on her face. And I'm going to use that dark highlights again, which just is a dark brown. Face and hands, I guess. I'm going to use my really tiny brush. Oh, she looks so dirty on this camera. Not too bad in person, though. And I did notice when I was painting her chest part of her jacket, she has a little necklace. And I think I want to do it like a light, I'm going to do candlelight yellow and white, dragon white, and make it kind of a light sunburst color. Some of these paints are driving me crazy with how much of that clear mixing liquid will not mix in. It's gross. And this is my sharpest point brush. So I will use it. Kind of a really slight lemon yellow. Somehow try and get down in those tiny little beads of the necklace. Well, this I'm probably going to have to look at. So I think I've done as much as I can. I'm not the most pleased with how it's turning out. I think it's just because it's so dark, and with the washes, that's just kind of how it happens. I just wasn't intending it to be so dark. I think I just got a little bit frustrated with it. But sometimes that works because I do want her to be, I mean, she is a fighter. So I'm okay with her being like a little bit more dark, I guess. But here's what I have so far. See, it just looks kind of dark, especially on camera, so I can't even show the details. I'll have to take photos. I do have her eyes left, and I was going to put a little bit of bronze in her hair. I don't know what I want to do with her eyes, or if I just want to do another wash. Well, it doesn't really need another wash, but the eyes, especially on these WizKids miniatures, are really difficult. They're so tiny, incredibly small. It's hard to do. And it's hard to do it and not mess it up and get like a splash all over her face, which I don't want to do. So I think I'm either going to just let it, I think I'll put like a tiny wash of like a dark reddish brown in her eye sockets, but let's see. That just makes it look like she has a mask on. That looks really weird. I'm gonna try and wash that out a little bit. Now she just looks kind of sick. Oh well. It's better than nothing. I'm good with that. It's a little bit of shadow to her eyes to where you can see her face, has a little bit more definition, but it's not anything crazy. Apparently it's really not trying to pick it up. Why is that so dark? Here's what I made today. I still have to put on the flocking and the grass tufts, which I probably won't do right now because she's still kind of drying. And I might add some, since I was going to add some bronze to her hair, make it a little bit darker though. Add some kind of maroon gold streaks to her hair. Into her jacket just to give it some detail. I'm almost dry brushing it on, but not technically. I want it to be on there, but not like super obvious. It's almost gold though. Her hair is, I kind of like it kind of gold though. I might work that into the character. It's part of the elven blood. Maybe her mom was a sun elf? Because sun elves are, they're darker skinned, they're copper bronzy skin and hair and stuff. I think that's what it's gonna be. This miniature is a little messy. The hair especially. I guess I could sand it down. And I'm gonna add some accent gold because I like it. Oh, goodness. I love the jokes. Thanks for putting jokes in my chat. That's perfect. Oh, okay, as far as washing, I'm just using the paints. I just slightly water them down for whatever color is the base color. I just do like a slightly lighter color, I mean darker color for the wash. I try and find whatever it looks like will fit best. But I'm not using any kind of specific washes. I'm just using the paints watered down a bit. Yeah, I'm still building up my collection of materials and paints and washes and stuff like that. So right now I'm just using the paints that I have watered down a bit. I don't own any specific washes yet. I've been looking at them. I found a kit, or not a kit, a set of 3 Reaper's washes that I might get. Since that's what kind of paint I use Reaper paint. Man, gold makes things so fancy. I was kind of not loving the way she was turning out, so now she's just extra fancy, and that's okay with me. She's just got a lot of gold, and the gold honestly kind of looks cool on her coat. Okay, that's a good idea. I do have that color, actually. I have Pale Flesh, I believe. Scholar Flesh, which is basically, I don't know what Pale Flesh is, but this is like a light tone, skin tone. I have a light skin tone and I have a dark skin tone, and I kind of just mix them as needed. Yeah, I can do that. I like that idea. Thank you. I think I might do something like that with, no, not with her face. Her face is fine. Maybe with, I don't know, maybe I will. Hey, thanks! Thank you so much. That was really sweet. Thanks for the raid. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. For anyone who's curious, I am painting a WizKids, I believe it's human. It's either human or elf monk. That's what I'm doing today. And I'm painting it after a character of mine that is a Way of the Sun Soul fighter monk. I like to make characters even for when I'm playing games online, which I know a lot of people do, because it's really fun. Let me see if I can get her to show better. That's what we're working with right now. I'm kind of adding some detail. I haven't finished her base yet, but I'm just adding some gold detail to her outfit at the moment. Because she is somewhat of, well, I played her for a one-shot, and she was a dance fighter for a festival, so I wanted to give her kind of festival outfit. Something fancy. Little more detail. I love her quarterstaff type thing with a wrap around it. I think after I do this, I might just make her hair a little bit darker. I put a little bit too much of the gold in it, and then I will probably be done. I'm gonna do the base with flocking and these little grass tufts eventually, but I want to make sure I'm doing that right before I put it on stream, otherwise it might just be a big mess because I haven't used them yet. I kind of like the hair gold like that. It's fancy for a festival. Okay, so thank you to everybody who came and watched today. I'm so excited that you were interested in watching this. If you're into painting, thank you for your tips. I've really appreciated it, and I hope that you can share some more painting stuff with me. Show me your miniatures that you've painted. I love seeing them. I probably follow like 500 miniature painter accounts on Twitter just because that's my favorite thing. If you are new to painting and thinking about getting into it, I hope hopefully this gave you kind of a somewhat, this is Tuesdays I kind of just do my whatever I want to paint thing, but Fridays I do my beginner miniature painting. Like, I'm going by the Reaper Miniatures kits right now. I have one more, I'll be doing this one Friday if all goes well, one more miniature from the Learn to Paint kit, and then after that I will be working through the Learn to Paint kit number 2, Reaper's number 2, and yeah, so I've been working on this one today. This is my little monk lady, and I think that's all. If anyone has any last minute questions or anything. Okay, yeah, I'm gonna study, that's great, thank you for that tip. I'm gonna study how to do the grass tufts. I might even do that for Friday for my other miniature or something. So it'll be these things, and I will do that. I'm gonna try and do it on stream, so I'm gonna practice with it before. But anyway, thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much, Laughing Boy, for the raid. That was really sweet of you. I really appreciate it. And you can find me on Twitter at __ ephemeroptera. It's a type of insect. And you can find me here on Fridays and then usually on Tuesdays as well. So thanks so much for coming. I hope you have a great day, and I will see you later. Bye.